Hello parents, my name is Lungile Mangena. I'm a clinical psychologist, and today I just really want us to talk about understanding your child's behavior and misbehavior. And for us to unpack that a little bit more, everyone, including children, behave in certain ways because it helps us gain a sense of belonging, as well as a sense of knowing that I'm important in my family. Now, in relation to the child, every child wants to know that I am loved by my parent, that I'm important to my parent, that I belong to my parent. And when children misbehave to try and gain a sense of importance and belonging and knowledge of being loved, is because they don't know any other way of getting those needs met. So they will try misbehaving, but the underlying reason or underlying purpose is because I want to know that I'm loved by you, I'm important to you, and I belong to you as my parent. Now, there are many ways in which children will misbehave, but I'm just only going to highlight 4 misbehaviors that are quite common and are quite broad. And I'm also going to look at our responses as parents. When our children are misbehaving, it's important, if we want to change the child's behavior, I always say first key, let's look at us, the parents. When my child is misbehaving, how do I normally feel? How do I normally respond to my child's misbehavior? And how does my child then respond to my actions? Okay, so we're going to hold that in mind. Now, let's go back to these 4 broad categories or reasons why children will normally misbehave. Number 1, children will normally misbehave for attention-seeking purposes. They may be attention seekers. So now, if I'm a child and I want my parents' attention, and I don't know any other, way of getting my parents' attention except through misbehavior. Now, I may, for example, my parent is coming back from work, is exhausted and is tired, for example, and then I jump on my parent, I want my parents' attention, this happened at school, that happened at school, that happened at school, and normally then I would say to the parent, let's pause. Let's think about, how do you feel as a parent when your child is all over you and you are tired, you had a long day, you just want to rest, and your child is busy screaming and wanting your attention? How do you normally feel as a parent? And sometimes parents will tell you that, it makes me feel frustrated, it makes me feel annoyed. And then the second question I will ask is, when you are feeling that way, how do you then respond? What action do you take when it comes to now fixing your child's misbehavior? What action do you then take? And then you find the parent saying that, I would scream at the child. I would push the child away and say, can't you see that mommy is tired? Just sit down for a second, And then I would say to the parent, now, once you've said that, how does your child then respond to your actions? And then the parents will say, it's either the child will be so shocked and will just sit down and stop misbehaving at that moment, but will start misbehaving again later on. You see. And then I say, maybe that is not working. So maybe then we need to change your response as a parent. Your feelings are validated, they are valid, but maybe we need to learn a new way of responding when your child is displaying attention-seeking behaviors, which are misbehaviors. So now then, we would explore with the parents, perhaps maybe at that time, instead of screaming and kicking and all of that, now maybe we can start giving our children attention when they least expect it. So now this is a time when your child is sitting down and is watching TV, is not expecting any attention from you at that moment. That's when you go for it. You give your child attention when they least expect it. Secondly, you give your child attention when they are not demanding it, and lastly, you give your child attention when they are behaving. Because then the child begins to learn that, I don't need to misbehave. I don't need to display attention-seeking behaviors and annoy my parent for my parent to give me attention. I can just behave and I get attention. So this is a new response that I normally would encourage parents to start implementing, so that we start changing the child's misbehavior. So before we can say fix the child, I say let's look at ourselves first as the parents. Let's change our responses first. And then another reason why children will misbehave is because perhaps they may be power hungry little people. What do I mean? Remember we said that children will misbehave because it helps them gain a sense of importance, a sense of knowing that I belong and I am loved. So now, a power-hungry child will assert their power in the house, will boss people around in the house to make sure that I'm asserting that I am important in this family. I belong to this family. Now, let me use a simple example. You are all sitting down as a family. You are probably watching TV. Then comes your little toddler, comes and takes the remote. You're watching a very nice movie that you are all focused on. Then the little person comes and takes the remote and changes the channel and puts what they want to watch. Ooh. Now, then I'll ask the parent, let's think about the feeling word. What did you feel when your child did that? And then the parents will say, whoa, I felt so angry. I felt so irritated. And then I would ask the parent, okay, so now what action did you take following the feeling that you had to try and change your child's misbehavior? And then the parents would say, I got into a fight with my child. I was arguing with my child. I told my child where to get off. I told my child that you are disrespecting people. I said A, B, C, D, and F, but I was shouting, I was screaming, I was nagging, I was engaging in a power struggle with my child. And then I'll say to the mom or the dad or the parents, I'll say to them, okay, so how did the child respond to your actions? And then the parents will say, oh, the child also told me where to get off. The child also told me that it's my turn, it's my time to watch TV, or etc., etc. Or maybe the child may temporarily stop the misbehavior because I'm being shouted at, I'm being maybe sworn at, example, etc., etc. Then the child will stop temporarily, but will resume and start the misbehavior again at a later stage. Then I say, it looks like that response from your side as a parent, and then how your child is responding to your actions, is not working. So now let's learn a new way of responding when your child is engaging in power seeking or power struggles with you as a parent. So I always say then to the parent, try not to get angry. I know it's hard. Try not to get angry. Try not to engage in a power struggle with a child. It doesn't work. Our role is to be bigger, stronger, and we need to be regulated as parents first, all the time. We need to be regulated first before we can attend to our child's misbehavior. Now, if I'm regulated as a parent, then I'll realize, okay, my child loves feeling powerful. Okay, so now I need to now teach my child to make use of this need to feel powerful by doing things that are helpful. For example, maybe I need to go to the shop and I need to decide on which chips do I want to buy for the children. Then I'll take him and I'll say, let's choose. Which chips should we buy today? Should we buy these ones or these ones? Which ones do you think we need to buy? So now I'm allowing my child to make use of this power that they want to demonstrate, but in a helpful way. Another example, it's a little bit funny, but it's an example. Say, sure, you know, mommy now is so old. Mommy's back is a little bit painful. It's a little bit ouch. And I can't really lift up that chair very nicely. But I know you can help me do that. And then the child, because remember, this is a child that likes to feel powerful. And I'm not going to take that away from the child because I just need to channel it to help the child make use of their power, you know, in a helpful way. And then the child will come and help me lift up the chair or lift up the table, etc., etc. And I thank the child for being so strong or being able to help me at that moment. So do you realize that in that situation, I didn't scream, I didn't shout, I didn't curse anyone, I didn't swear at anyone, but I just realized that my child feels important when he is using his power. So now I just help my child to make use of the same power in a way that can help others. Okay, so those are your power hungry little people. And then the third way in which children will misbehave is children who then feel like they are inadequate. These are children that will feel discouraged, that will feel hopeless, that will feel like they're not good enough, that will feel like they will always try to get you, the parent, to not expect anything from them. So now, let's say your child is doing homework and you can see that your child is struggling to do that homework that they're doing. And then you come in and you try and encourage and help the child. No, you can do this. Let's try. You can do this. You know, I know you can do this. And then the child tries to keep you away from expecting anything from them. Already the child is feeling discouraged, is feeling like they are inadequate, they're not good enough, they can't do anything. So now, then I'll ask the parent, How did that make you feel? And then the parent will say, "Whew, it made me feel hopeless. It made me feel discouraged." So now, what is then the new action that the parent now needs to take with regards to a child who is feeling discouraged? Now, the new action that I'll always encourage parents to take is focus on the child's strengths. What is the child good at? Highlight to the child what their strengths are, what you like about them. And secondly, also focus on the efforts that the child is making. The fact that the child sat down on the table, on the chair, and put the books on the table and opened the books, that is an effort. The child could have used that time to go and play outside, but the child attempted to sit and open their books and try and read something. Then you zoom in on that, you focus on that, you acknowledge that, you see it, and you say it back to the child that, "You know what? I can see that you are trying. I can see that you made attempts, and let's just keep on trying." That's all we can do. Let's just keep on making those efforts, for example. And then now we find children who misbehave because they are revengeful children. Now, these are your type of children who will misbehave because they are feeling hurt. They are children who will hurt other people because they are feeling hurt. That's how they gain their sense of importance. That's how they gain their sense of belonging, by being hurtful towards other people. Because if they are disliked by other people, that makes them feel important. That makes them feel good about themselves. Because other people are scared of me. Other people dislike me, for example. So now, just a simple example. Let's say you had made a promise to the child that you're gonna buy the child sweets, for example. And then you come home and you forgot to buy the child sweets. And the child has been waiting for sweets the whole day. And me as the parent, I forgot, which happens. I forgot to come back with the sweets that the child has asked me to come with. Now, in that situation, revengeful children, remember, they are feeling hurt. Now they will say hurtful things to you as the parent. "You are the worst parent in this world. Why can't you be like so-and-so's parent? Why can't you be consistent? Why can't you be truthful? You are such a liar." They will say things to hurt you as a parent. And then I would ask the parent, "How did that make you feel?" And then the parent will be able to say, "That hurt my feelings," or "That made me so angry." And then I would ask the parent, "What action did you take to try and reprimand or discipline the child or change the child's misbehavior?" And then the parent will say, "Well, I cursed the child. I told the child, well, if you think I'm the worst parent, you are the worst child in the face of this earth. Who do you think you are? What do you think you are? You are nothing," for example. So what's happening now is the parent and the child are engaging in a power struggle. These are the type of kids who can even go and pick up a stone or a rock and throw it at the parent, because the intention is to hurt the parent, whether emotionally or hurt the parent physically, for example. So then I would say to the parent, now, when you said all of these hurtful things back to the child, how did the child react? And then the parents will say, the child took stones and started throwing stones at me. Also, the child said to me, yeah, well, you are also a terrible parent. So it means both you and me are the same. So meaning that approach didn't work. It didn't stop the misbehavior. Then I'll say to the parents, perhaps maybe now we need to start exploring other ways of approaching the same situation. And I'll say, I know it's hard. I know it's very hard, but please do not retaliate. Do not retaliate. If your child is saying hurtful things to you, do not retaliate and say hurtful things back to the child. Do not retaliate. It's very important because that does not teach or role model to the child anything constructive and positive there. So instead, I would always encourage the parents, continue remaining calm. Remain calm. Don't retaliate. Remain calm. Continue showing love to this child. Continue showing love consistently. Because it's the love that you continue to show that will disempower this child, that will make this little person realize that me saying hurtful things to my parent doesn't work. I don't get the reaction I wanted. And also, as a parent, if I was at fault and I forgot to buy the sweets, I need to role model to the child and apologize and say, sure, I can see that I hurt your feelings, and I need to communicate words to the child to describe the feeling that he's feeling. I can see that you are hurt. I can see that you are disappointed. I can see that I hurt your feelings. So what am I doing by doing that? I'm role modeling appropriate ways of expressing anger, of expressing hurt to the child. And I need to do it in love. I can't do it by shouting and nagging and screaming. I need to do it in ways that are still communicating, I love you. Now, parents, the purpose here has been understanding our children's behaviors and misbehaviors. Now, we are wanting to change these misbehaviors. Now, if we realize the common theme here is for our children's misbehaviors to change, it requires us parents to change our behavior when our children hurt our feelings, when our children make us feel angry, when our children make us feel frustrated. Instead of shouting and screaming and nagging, we need to use a different approach. And then our children will therefore respond to the approach that we are using. So, to change our children's misbehavior requires us parents to change our own behavior.